So I wanted to finish with GPath JSON by showing some more examples of how we can use find and find all and how we can combine those to make even more complex expressions. So for example, we're going to use our same endpointers again, and let's say that, for example, we wanted to find all of the players that played a certain position, say centre back, and then of all of those results do another find, and then find a player that has a nationality of, say, Argentina or something like that, if there is a player like that. So let's see how we would write that expression. Let's give us some space here. So we will say at test again, we'll say public void extracts map of object with find and find all. So if you remember, a find all will return multiple results and a find will only return a single result. So in the end we're only going to return a single result because that's what the final find will be. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So we'll again write our response. We're going to call our same endpoints again, team 66 players. So we're calling a map because we want to get all of the player details. We don't just want to get their name, we want to get all of their details, like their position, etc. We'll say player of certain position. And here we'll write our expression, our response.path. I'll put that onto a new line so that we can see it clearly. So we're going to take players again, so we're going to look for all of the players, and we're going to do a find all. And then our expression will be that their position, dot position equals centre back. So I just need to add escape there for the double quotes. Centre back. Escape the double quotes. Okay, so we're finding all of the players that play centre back, and we're getting an array back of them. And then on that we can write another find and then look for a single player that has a nationality of, escape the backspace, and then Argentina. So let's close our expression there. Close our brackets. Get rid of that bracket there, that's right. So hopefully there's no syntax errors in this, we'll see in a moment, but let's just talk through it again. So we're looking through all of the players again. So all of the players, and then we're finding all of the players that play a position of centre back and extracting all of those. So all of the ones that play centre back are being extracted, and then of those centre backs, of that list of players, we're looking for a single one because we're doing a find on those, and we're looking for their nationality to be Argentina. So let's print it out and see if we get a player come back. I'll just run that test. And there we go. We've got all of the details of this player, Marcus Rocco. So hopefully you can see there how you can write as complex queries as you can think of, and you can extract any data if you can write the query for it. You can extract very complex. You can write complex queries to extract whatever you want. So hopefully you can see that from the example, some of the things that you can do. So in this example we had to escape the quotation marks, and it's made our query a little bit more difficult to read, even more so than before. So we can actually use parameters here as well. So if we just specify the two parameters that we need, in this case centre back and the nationality, not Ecuador, Argentina, beg your pardon. So we can then take out this it.position here, and we could replace that with that string. So what we'll do is we'll just put in the %s to call that into the string for our first parameter. And we'll replace Argentina here. %test as well. So now, after our expression, but before the brackets close, we can type in the names for position and nationality. So now we're inserting those into the query as variables from here. Let's just run that and see if that still works. And again, we get the same player back. So it's picking up these here. So that just makes it a tiny bit easier to read. So in this example, we only extracted a single player. So we just extracted a map of a single player. But what if we wanted to extract multiple maps for multiple players? Well, let's look at one final example to see how we would do that. Call this public void, just say extract multiple players. So we'll start off by specifying the parameters that we're going to want to take. So we're going to take position, and we'll take it again as the centre backs. And we'll also take a nationality. And this time we'll take England because it's more likely to be more English centre backs. So to write our expression, we'll first call our response. So we'll first use the rest assured response to actually call the endpoint once again. So now we're going to want to take multiple players. So we're going to want an array list to hold those players. And then each item in the array list will be a map. Just bear with me here. And of that map, we'll be taking the string for the key and an unknown value for the value. So we're taking an array list of players, and each one of those players has a map of their data, their ID, their name, etc. If you don't quite understand, you'll see it in a moment when we run the code. So we'll call this all players certain nation. So we'll start writing our response here. I'll just write it up here actually first of all. So we'll say response.path, just as we've been doing before. Now we can write our expression again. So it's very similar to the last one. We'll say I'm actually just going to copy it from here because it's very, very similar. We just need to change to the find all at the end. I'll just replace that in there. So we're saying players.findAll it.position equals the first value, which will be, we'll put it in here after the double quotes. We're saying our variable is position and nationality for the second one. Close the brackets here, get rid of this bracket here. So again, we're taking all of the players and we're looking for, from those players that returned, we're looking for ones that have a position of centre back, which is our first variable here. And then of all of those centre backs, we're looking for all of the ones that have a nationality of England. And then returning those into an array list of map of strings. Map of string of key value of string and an unknown value. So let's print that out and let's see what we get back. That should make a bit more sense once we print this out. This is a bit more confusing example. I need to change my hash map here. One moment, let me just check what's wrong. I forgot to change this to find all. That's the problem with copy and paste. Apologies for that. I changed that to find all. Let's try and run the test again. So with the find, it was just finding a single map of it. With the find all, it will find multiple ones. So here we can see if we look at the results, we have a few players that have come back, and for each one we have all of the details of that player. So it's a little bit tricky to see there. Let me just run it in debug mode so that we can see it a little bit more clearly. So I'll just run the same test again in debug mode, and that should give us a bit more of a breakdown. So if we look at what we've extracted, if we look at this all players of certain nations, so it's size of 2, so we've got 2 values from there, and for each one we have 2 different players. So we have Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, and we have all of the details for each player. So each one's stored into its own hash map. and it has all of their details. So again, that's hopefully another useful example of how you can use GPath JSON. Writing a bit more of a complex query then, but as I say, you can write as complex or as simple as you like as long as you can know how to write the query. Okay, hope that was useful. I'll see you in the next lecture where we'll start looking at GPath XML.